Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I made this bustier dress with yoke. I know this is something you'd like to know more about. Please keep on watching and let's get started. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you'll get notified anytime I upload a new video. If you are yet to follow me on Instagram, please do so at Stitched by ST. Now let's jump right into the cutting and the stitching of this beautiful dress. These are the fabrics I'll be working with. I have 2 yards of this African print. I have my net here, the one I used for the yoke, and I used part of it for the sleeve also. I have about 1 yard and it is a stretchy net. I'll also be using a zip for this dress. I am starting with the front pattern. I have the shoulder line, the chest line, the bust line, the underbust line, and the waist line. Shoulder to the chest line is 8.5 inches, to the bust line is 11 inches, to the underbust is 14 inches, and to the waistline is 18 inches. I'll go in with the shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus 0.5 inch for seam allowance. I'll mark it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line, and I'll connect with a straight line. Next, I'll go in with the neckline width and the neckline depth. I'll use a neck width of 3.5 inches and a neck depth of 4 inches, and I'll connect with a curve. I'll come down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope, and I'll connect with a straight line to the neck width. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark the bust measurements divided by 4. The bust circumference divided by 4, I'll mark it on the chest line. And from the chest line, I'll go up by 3 inches, and from the 3 inches mark, I'll come in by 0.75 inches. I'll connect those 3 points together to form the armhole. The next thing is to mark the bust span measurement, that is the nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. For this project, it is 8 inches, 8 divided by 2 is 4 inches. I'll mark it on the waistline and the bust line, and I'll connect with a straight line. I'm going to take in 2 inches for that, so I'll mark 1 inch on both sides of the dart leg at the waistline, and I'll connect with a straight line to the bust point. The next thing I'm going to mark now is the waist measurements divided by 4, and I'll replace the 2 inches I took in for that, and I'll connect with a straight line to meet the bust measurements. The next thing is to mark the yoke. So from the chest line, I'll come down by 1.5 inches. That is how deep I want the neckline of the yoke to be. I'll place my curve directly on the chest line and slant it in a way that it is going to touch the 1.5 inches I came down from the chest line. Now, I will extend the nipple to nipple measurements to the new yoke line I have. So just extend it upward like so, and I'll come out by 0.75 on both sides of the line I created now to tighten the neckline. This is to tighten the neckline to avoid any gaping on the neckline. The next thing is to come down to the underbust line and mark your round underbust measurement. After marking it, whatever you have left after marking the underbust measurement, you are going to share it on both sides. I'm placing ½ inch on the side facing the center front, and I'm placing 0.75 on the side facing the side front. I'll connect with a curve to meet the bust point on both sides, and I'll connect with a straight line to meet the waistline. The next thing is to mark the bust dart, which is 3 inches. The difference between the front and the back half length is 3 inches, and that is what I am taking in as the bust dart. So just mark it from the bust line and connect it to the bust point like so. That is all for the front pattern. I'll cut it out now. Here we are going to take the darts we took from the neckline on the yoke also. On the shoulder line, you are going to get the midpoint and connect that midpoint to the line you already have on the yoke. Then you are going to connect the remaining 2 points on the yoke to the midpoint at the shoulder. And now slash through and use one side to cover the other side. That way you are closing the darts on the yoke. I'll secure it with my masking tape, and if there's any excess at the bottom, I'm just going to trim it out like you see me doing. For the back pattern, I have the shoulder line, the chest line and the waist line. Shoulder to the chest line is 8.5 inches and shoulder to the waistline is 15 inches. I have a zip allowance of 1.5 inches by the side of the paper. I'll go in with the shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus 0.5 inch for same allowance. I'll mark it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line, and I'll connect with a straight line. Next, I'll mark the neckline width and the neck depth. I'll use a neck width of 3.5 inches and a neck depth of 1 inch, and I'll connect with a curve. I'll also extend the neck depth to the zip allowance. I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope and I'll connect with a straight line to the neck width. The next measurement I'm marking is the bust measurements divided by 4. I'll mark it on the chest line, and from the shoulder slope I'll divide what I have left into 2, and from that point I'll go in by 0.5. I'll connect those 3 points together to form the armhole. The next thing is to go in with the bust span measurements divided by 2. From the chest line, I'll come down by 1 inch, that is where I'll place the measurement, and I'll also mark it on the waistline and I'll connect with a straight line. Next, I'll go in by ½ inch on both sides of the dart leg and I'll connect to the top like so. I'll go in with the waist measurements divided by 4 and I'll add the 1 inch allowance for that and connect to the chest line like so. The yoke is going to start from the chest line like we did with the front pattern, so I'm just extending the chest line to the zip allowance, and that is where the yoke is going to start from. But first, I want to alter the neckline. Place your curve from the neck width, make it in a slant form to touch the chest line, just like you see me placing mine, and connect like so. I am pointing arrows on the yoke, that is the side facing the center front, and also I am writing the zip allowance on the pattern. That is all on the back pattern. I am cutting it out now. After cutting the yoke out from the pattern, I am going to make some alterations to this pattern because I don't want a dart at the back. So just extend your dart line to the top and take in like 0.25 on both sides of the dart leg. That way we'll slash through the darts to close it because I don't want a dart at the back. Slash through the darts like so and place a masking tape on it to secure it down. That way we are going to have just one piece for the back. You can point arrows to the top of the pattern so that you can easily identify where the top of the pattern is, and you can label the side of the pattern so that you don't get confused. These are my front pieces and I have transferred it to fabric. I added ½ inch allowance to the sides of the patterns, but for the side joining I added 1.5 inches, and for my yoke I added ½ inch to the top and bottom of the yoke pattern. Don't forget to add all the necessary allowance to the top and bottom of your pattern and also to the sides. Now I am going to remove the pattern from the fabric so that we can see what we have. I have also cut out my lining piece exactly the same way I cut the main fabric. I am going to set this aside now and go ahead and add interfacing to the main fabric, and I'll also be adding wording to the bust area for padding. These are my back pieces and I've also added all the necessary allowance to the top, bottom and side. For the side joining I added 1.5 inches, but for the top and bottom I added ½ inch. I'm going to separate the pattern from the fabric now and show you what we have. I also have my lining piece cut out already, and you can see it here. I'm going to set it aside now and lay the pieces together so that you can see how it is going to look like. I'll go ahead and add interfacing to the main fabric, and I'll bring it back and show you. This is the skirt part for the dress, and I've already cut it out. This is the back piece. I have cut it out. If you don't know how to draft the skirt pattern, I'm going to put the link in the description box so that you can watch how I cut mine. This is my front piece, and I've also cut out my lining. While cutting your lining for the skirt part, you are going to make sure that the lining is at least 1 inch shorter than the main fabric. These are my front pieces after adding interfacing and wadding to the bust area. Now I am just going to place each of the pieces on the center front. I'll place the side front on the center front, right side facing each other, and go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch seam allowance. This is after I was done stitching and I went ahead to press the seams flat. And this is what we have. I have done the same thing to the lining piece also. I am going to set this aside and bring in the yoke. So now for the neckline, I'm going to use this piece of fabric to pipe the neckline. You're going to cut that piece of fabric on bias, and the width is 1.5 inches, and you're going to use it to pipe the neckline. For the back yoke also, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to use that same piece of fabric, the one you have cut out already, to pipe the neckline. This was after I was done with the neckline of the yoke, and I'm just going to fix it to the main fabric first. So you're going to pin the center of the yoke to the center of the main fabric. You're going to pin the center like this, and I would advise that while stitching, start from the center first before moving to the sides. After securing that down, you're going to place the lining on top of it and stitch it also. Do it one step at a time so that it will be easy. For the back pieces, we are basically going to do the same thing we did on the front piece. Place your yoke on the main fabric, but take note of your allowances at the side and center. Your allowance for zip at the center. Make sure that your yoke is not sitting on the allowance on the center for zip and the allowance on the side. After making sure of that, you are going to place your lining on top and go ahead and stitch. I'll go over to the sewing machine and do that now, and I'll bring it back and show you. I'm going to close the zip area on the side also. This is after I was done with the front piece, and you can see what we have both on the inside and outside. After stitching, I went ahead to press it properly, so it is important to press while stitching. Now I have prepared the down part, and I'm just going to go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch seam allowance to join it together. For the back pieces, this is what I have also. You can see that I have pressed it also. So please, after joining, go ahead and press it properly. Now I'm just going to bring the down part of the dress and go ahead and join the waistline with 1/2 inch seam allowance. If you have watched up to this point, please hit the like button and turn on the notification bell. So this is the back piece after I was done joining the waistline, and now the next thing is for me to go ahead and fix in my zip to the back. So I'll go ahead and do that now, and I'll bring it back and show you. I am done fixing the zip here, and this is what we have. One tip guys, after fixing your zip, please iron it properly. It is very important. And now I'm just going to join the sides together. I already have my markings on the back piece, so go ahead and do yours and place your front piece on the table, and I'm going to place the back piece on it and go ahead and join the sides together. While joining, the most important part is to make sure that the waist joining of both the front and the back matches up properly. And also don't forget to join the shoulder of both the front and the back together. So join with 1/2 inch seam allowance on both sides. I am done joining here, and this is what it looks like. So this is what I have now. I went ahead to overlock the inner part of the dress. So this is what I have, and I went ahead to press it properly. Now the last thing is for me to fix the sleeve to this dress. I have prepared my sleeve already. It is just a simple sleeve that I'm going to attach to this dress. Go ahead and fix any sleeve of your choice, and that will be all for this dress. If you don't know how to draft a basic sleeve pattern, I am going to put the link in the description box so that you can watch the video I made on how to draft a basic sleeve. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. Please turn on your notification bell so you will get notified anytime I upload a new video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.